What's that sound? It's For Amusement Only, the EM and Bingo Pinball Podcast. Welcome back to For Amusement Only. This is Nick Baldridge. Tonight, travel back with me to 1957. We're going to talk about Bally's Cypress Gardens. Cypress Gardens is a very highly regarded bingo. It has an awful lot going on. But before we get into all that, let's talk about what a bingo pinball machine is. A bingo pinball machine is a multi-coin pinball experience where you are gambling your multiple coins against the likelihood that you can get 3, 4, or 5 in a row on the bingo card on the Backglass. In order to do this, when you plunge your ball, you have to skillfully nudge the ball into particular holes on the playfield. There are 25 trap holes and a 26th ball return hole. The ball return simply returns the ball to you at no penalty. You get to shoot it again. The game keeps track of how many balls you've shot and how many are left to shoot. It's quite fascinating to know how all this works together. And if you'd like a primer on all that, if you're just joining us for the first time, check back through some of the previous 300 plus episodes because I've gone over many of the mechanisms previously. But today we're talking about Cypress Gardens. And Cypress Gardens is a Magic Squares game. Now, many of the bingos had features which, when you put in the magic amount of coins, it would enable and allow you to do something to move the numbers on the Backglass. So your bingo card on a typical bingo game, if you're playing in a bingo hall or with your family or something, your bingo card is fixed. The free space is always in the center, yada yada, all that good stuff. Well, on a Bally bingo, the numbers are not fixed on many of the games. And in this case, there's a feature called Magic Squares. Magic Squares are groups of 4 numbers. There are 4 different groups, and each contains 4 numbers, so that equals 16 of the 25 numbers which can be moved. The way they move is, as you put in money, it will enable each Magic Square individually. Many of the previous Magic Squares games would enable A, B, and C together, and then ask you to pay extra to try and earn D. Well, in this case, you have to earn A, and then B, and so on. What's powerful about this feature is that in the standard Magic Squares games, your numbers are in the corners of the bingo card. And to some bingo players who played these on location back when they came out, they were called turning corners games because of this. But in Cypress Gardens' case, only the letter A quadrant is in the upper left corner. B is directly below that, the 4 numbers below that. C is directly to the right of A, so in the center of the card. And D is directly below C. Now, what's beautiful about position D is that it includes the center number on the card. So that free space I was talking about on your home bingo games, it would include that space and allow you to move the number into one of 4 positions there. That is incredibly powerful. But the game doesn't stop there with the repositionable numbers. This game also included what's called a magic line. The magic line was labeled E and was qualified in the same way as A, B, C, and D. You put in more money, and it steps up this one particular stepper that enables E. E allows you to move 4 numbers horizontally. So as you push E, it will rotate around from position to position. It's very cool to watch if you've seen a game with this feature. This is completely unlike the magic lines that they had previously in 1955, where you could move a dial to move the numbers up or down one position. The fifth column, the one that's all the way over to the right, you cannot move any of the numbers in that column on Cypress Gardens. So, what's the disadvantage? If you can move all these numbers, what's the problem? Because really, you can reposition almost the entire bingo card. You only have 5 numbers, 1/5 of the card that you can't move. Your odds are pretty good then, right? Well, the game doesn't quite work that way. So, not only do you have to qualify them by putting in more and more money, but also it's locked out after a certain period of time. By default, these features will be locked out before you shoot your 4th ball. However, you can earn what's called an extended time tree, where it will allow you to shoot before your 5th ball or even after your 5th ball has been shot. After 5th is, of course, the most desirable because you can reposition everything after the game is already over. On top of that, this game has rollover buttons, which will light at random and allow you to bump your time tree up 1 or more positions. There's a yellow rollover on the left and a red rollover on the right. The yellow rollover will light before 5th, and the red rollover lights after 5th. This game has a Ballyhole feature, but unlike previous Ballyhole features where it awards the first extra ball, in this case the Ballyhole is a carryover feature, and what it does is it lights all of your magic squares and the magic line with the next game. A, B, C, D, and E start lit on the next game. All you have to do is put in 1 nickel or play 1 replay. So it makes total sense if you get the Ballyhole number 16 to play the next game. This game also has corner scoring. If that light is lit and you land a ball in each of the 4 corners of the bingo card, remember 2 of those numbers cannot be moved, but the other 2 can. If you do that, then it'll score your green 5 in a line odds. Now, let's talk about odds for a moment. One of the key things about bingos is advancing odds. This was a feature which was popularized by the one-ball horse racing games, which came in the decade before bingos were produced initially. In this case, you have something called triple deck scoring. So, normally, you have odds for 3 in a row, odds for 4 in a row, and odds for 5 in a row. And of course, those go up with the complexity. So your 3 in a row odds are very low, typically. They start at 4 replays, and they go up to 192. Your 4 in a row goes from 16 to 480, and your 5 in a row goes from 75 all the way up to 600. Now, because this is triple deck scoring, there are separate odds for red, yellow, and green, and they all move independently. So your yellow odds, for example, could be all the way up at 600, but your red odds could be back at 96. So it adds another layer of complexity to the game. And with repositionable numbers, like this game has, it makes it so you can have winners in more than one color, which is very, very important. So your 3 in a row, let's say in the yellow, perhaps you can reposition it so that you have a 3 in a row in the red. And if you're really lucky, you may also have a 3 in a row in the green. Now, if you're a really good player, you'll have a 5 in a row in one color, and maybe you get a 4 in a row or a 3 in a row in another color. I am not one of those such players, but I can pretty consistently get a 3 in a row. So, is that enough features for you? No? Alright, well there's more. This game, after you shoot your 5 balls, you have a chance to win extra balls. Up to 3 extra balls can be played. So your odds go from 5 for 5 in a row all the way up to possibly 8 for 5 in a row, meaning you get 8 chances to get your 5 in a row. But the trick is you're no longer allowed to move any numbers after you shoot your first extra ball, even if you have after 5th lit. So it locks out the moving numbers features. The second thing is you have to pay to qualify each extra ball. It's incredibly, I couldn't even decide between those words. It's so incredibly rare that it will just award you first extra ball automatically. You have to qualify first, and then you have to qualify extra, and then you have to qualify ball. When it qualifies ball, it actually lifts it to you and you're able to shoot. But again, it doesn't just give it to you. So, that's all well and good, and it sounds like a lot of fun, right? But there's more. This game has something called Stop and Shop, and it's not a feature that I've ever experienced myself, but it's one which I am dying to try out. I think this feature is phenomenal. If you've wagered, and you've got your moving numbers features going, and you realize you've got a pretty good game going, well, wouldn't you like to try and increase your odds after you've shot your first or second ball? Well, this game has the ability to award you Stop and Shop before shooting your third ball, which means you can put in money after your first ball, after your second ball, but before you shoot your third ball. Or before you shoot your fourth ball. Now think about that for a minute. You've shot 3 balls. Maybe you already have a winner. That's pretty powerful. So, this game, from a feature standpoint, is incredibly neat. It's one that I'm dying to try, and I think I may have the opportunity to play one here in the next month or so. So I'm really looking forward to that, and we'll see what I think about it after I play. Now let's talk about the artwork. The Backglass is a cypress grove, and you've got this kind of lagoon area where there are 3 ladies, 2 of which are hanging out by the water, and one is one-handed water skiing. The boat is out of frame, and it looks like there is a target for archery off in the distance to the right of one of the ladies. There are other boats in the background, some of which are pulling water skiers, and some of which are just boating around, cruising. The cabinet has a blue base coat, on top of which are waves made up of white and green. You have the shore, you have clouds, and you have boats, and a couple different types of boats. You've got sailboats, and you've got speedboats. People in the boats, flags hanging off the boats. It's really very impressive what they did, and this is just on the lower cabinet. Below all that, you have red, which is framing the whole thing at the bottom. It's very attractive. You've got a fern coming out in the foreground on the right-hand side. And then if you go up into the head, that red carries on. You've got some more plant life there. Maybe it's a cypress tree, just the branches of it that you can see. Not sure. And above that, you have some cranes flying in the sky. Gorgeous stencil. Now, this is a wood rail, and so it uses wooden legs. But you'll see in the pictures that I link that the heads are starting to get deeper and deeper, and that's because they're adding more and more features. So at some point, they'll make the transition here to metal rails and metal legs. But we've still got quite a few wood rail titles left. So let's talk about the Playfield here. We've got the same lagoon type area, speedboats on it. Very busy playfield with the cypress trees in the background. And as you come to the foreground, you have some ladies laying on towels. And there are, it looks like 5 of them in the foreground, all in different areas. Very, very attractive playfield artwork. Again, the numbers for the holes are not obtrusive. I think, despite being in red, they don't fight with the background artwork very much. I'm always impressed with the bingo artwork, I've got to say. It's very beautiful. So, that's Cypress Gardens. If any of you have been lucky enough to play it, I hope you've had a good experience. It sure seems like it lives up to the hype, just based on the features involved and the complexity of the gameplay. Well, that's all for tonight. Thank you very much for listening. My name again is Nick Baldridge. You can reach me at foramusementonlypodcast@gmail.com, or you can call me on the Bingos line. That's 724-BINGOS1, 724-246-4671. You can listen to us on iTunes, Stitcher, Pocket Casts, via RSS, on Facebook, on Twitter at Bingo Podcast. You can follow me on Instagram, also at Bingo Podcast, or you can listen to us on our website, which is foramusementonly.libsyn.com. At this very moment, you can purchase your very own For Amusement Only t-shirt. Only for the next week and a couple days. So if you'd like to get on that train, now is the time. Thank you very much for listening, as always, and I will talk to you next time.